Come on, stay there. Everyone spread out. Gentlemen, quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn right. Quarter turn right.
All right, Shawn Ray, as we go through these quarter turns, I'm going to pick your brain a little bit and see if you can give us some insight on how this thing might play out, as the defending champion, Flex Lewis, is in his spot in the center, adorned by Kamal to his left and Derek to his right. Jose Raymond on the far left and Ahmad Ashkenani on the far right.
Aesthetically speaking,
side chest,
Derek Lunsford has the best looking structure. But again, it's a little raw, needs a little bit better condition, needs a little more muscle maturity. Flex is owning this lineup right now.
Back double bicep.
Jose's not where he needs to be, especially throughout the midsection. And again, Ashkenani's missing a little bit of detail in the hamstrings and the front quadriceps, which then leaves us with only 3 guys up there that this show is going to come down to. And Kamal is obviously the most conditioned, I believe, out of all of them.
At this point, is there any question in your mind who's going to win this competition?
Side tricep.
I'm going to reserve that for the open class. This one right now, I got Flex Lewis winning this competition, going away into retirement by the quality of his muscle.
There's just enough things right about that physique, about that look, about what he was able to bring this stage. As the defending champion, it's going to be tough for him to be defeated, but you can see what's to like about Derek and Kamal. Their physiques are tremendous, and just a little tweaking, a little fine-tuning, this competition could have gone another way, but Flex Lewis, as they say, did what he had to do.
Absolutely. Well, the thing about it is that, okay, then there's second and third.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Kamal's making a very strong case to being the runner-up. Structurally, Derek has a better, more aesthetic, pleasing physique, especially in the lower quads.
All right, well, here we go. It's the final pose down in the career of Jose Raymond, and of course, one of the first in the young career of Derek Lunsford as his career continues to skyrocket. Flex Lewis has moved away from the pack on his own as the tradition of the defending champ. He will ask the other 4 to chase him around the stage, as you used to do so often, Shawn Ray, back in the day.
Yeah, following the champ's not always the best thing to do when you find your own real estate, but Derek feels like maybe this is the last opportunity while Ahmad Ashkenani is establishing himself as an individual here.
I do want to say, Kamal Agarni from Libya, he should be incredibly proud of what he has brought. He is a star, was born this weekend. He's an exceptional bodybuilder. A good case could be made that he did everything that he had to do. The question is, on a night where the defending champ came in looking the way he did, creates a difficult dynamic for him to get over the top. But he is a big-time superstar now in this division. And when this show is over, he has to be on any list of contenders now going into next year.
Absolutely. And Derek is holding his own on that back double bicep next to Flex Lewis because they're both relatively in the same kind of condition. Derek needs a little bit more upper pecs, and he can use some more biceps as well. But Kamal is holding his own and represented very good here tonight, while I think Jose Raymond is going to probably wind up in 5th.
And by the way, as we talk about Jose Raymond's final contest, Flex Lewis has said he's not going to compete for a while, and there's no promises, there's no guarantees that he competes again. He has said he's going to walk away, he's going to catch his breath, he's going to reassess all aspects of his life. So
sometimes walking away, Dan, or take a break, take a year up, it might be the best thing for him.
Sure. So at the very least, we know we're not going to see Flex Lewis for quite some time.
I won't be surprised if we don't see him here next year if the timing's right, because he can wind up in the top 6 of Olympia, Dan. And that might be just enough appeal to do it one more time before you walk away. It's hard to make a comeback. So if you're going to ever do it, you want to do the Open, he could come and do the Open next year, and he could be in the top 6.
The 5th place award representing Midway Labs with Vice President Ms. Catherine Colley.
Well, Shawn Ray, here we
We
go.
take the 5th place award, the check for $3,000, and present it to Jose Ramy.
All right, so in his final appearance ever on a bodybuilding stage, he goes out in the top 5. You can say he's gone out on his own terms, a very formidable, a very respectable showing, and you can be sure those two have had more than their share of battles. There is a tremendous friendship, a tremendous amount of respect between Flex Lewis and Jose Raymond, tonight's 5th place finisher here at the Olympia 212.
Absolutely, he commands respect just from the journey that he's been on. We all know how hard it is year after year to do this, Dan. And these athletes know that Jose's done it better than anybody else.
Presenting the 4th place award, representing MusclePharm, is Nicole Ariello. Please take the 4th place award, the check for $5,000 to our 4th place finisher, Ahmad Ashkenani.
Well, last year's runner-up falls to 4th this year in 2018, and you can be sure this was not what he came here for. He was not pleased with the way it went last night, and quite frankly, I'm sure he's not pleased with this outcome, but he's taking it with a degree of class and respect, and you got to appreciate that. Ahmad Ashkenani is not going anywhere. He will be a factor in this division for the years to come. But for this year, he's going to have to settle Shawn Ray for 4th place.
He's class all the way. And trust me, he knows who he's losing to on this stage, and they can all take turns at one time or another. But unfortunately, you got to peak on the night, on the day, and it didn't happen for him tonight.
Welcome back from Midway Labs, Ms. Catherine Colley.
This 2nd and 3rd is going to be an interesting call out, Dan, because of course, we know Derek is coming up from the rear view in terms of his youth, but Kamal is one of those guys that's going to be an interesting read in the future.
Please take the 3rd place award, the Olympia bronze medal, the check for $10,000, and present it to Kamal Algarni.
All right, Kamal Algarni, one of the big stories of the weekend from Libya. He takes the 3rd place medal, and you can be sure he did everything that he could to make his case. I know a lot of his fans, a lot of fans around the world have been extremely impressed by what he presented, by what he delivered here at this competition.
As am I. The condition is what got him there. Doesn't have the most pleasing physique, but again, we know how hard it is, Dan, to get ripped up and hold it and peak on the day. Sometimes guys that can do that to put their name on that final list.
Presenting the 2nd place award, Mr. Zach Ziegler, Executive Editor of Muscle and Fitness Magazine. Please take the 2nd place award, the Olympia Silver Medal, the check for $19,000 to our runner-up this evening, Derek Lunsford.
All right, Derek Lunsford going to take 2nd place. Shawn Ray, a big showing for this young man who was kind of burst onto the scene last year. He stuck his claim to what's clearly a fast track to success, and here he is a year later. And the only thing that stood in the way of Derek Lunsford winning this title was one of the all-time greats, Flex Lewis. So tip your cap to Derek Lunsford. He is your 2nd place finisher here at the 2008 Olympia 212 competition.
We saw him coming a year ago. This is only his 2nd Olympia showdown, and with that being said, the future looks mighty bright for this kid. A year from now, Dan, we could see him wearing an experience that James Flex Lewis is going to be experiencing shortly.
Mr. Jim. And please take
Derek is paying
the
attention.
1st place award, the Olympia Gold Medal. The 1st place check for $40,000. And the title of 2018 212 Olympia champion and 7-time Olympia champion, Flex
Oh, there it is, the pride of Wales at 34 years. He has won 7 titles here in the Olympia 212. He said coming into the year he wanted to win 7 because his idol Arnold Schwarzenegger did just that. He wanted to equal that number, and he wanted to exit this division on his own terms as a champion, and he has done just that. He wins this competition for his family. He wins this competition for his family and friends and fans back at home in Wales. And he wins this competition because he is the greatest under 212 competitor of all time. We're back after the break. Flex Lewis has just been announced the winner of the 212 competition, the Olympia 212. He is the champion for the 7th consecutive year. Dan Solomon along with Shawn Rhoden. It has been a privilege to call a very competitive, a very impressive 212 lineup. And Shawn, I'd love to get your take on the history that was just made by James Flex Lewis.
Well, I can tell you, Dan, categorically, James has nothing to prove to anybody. He's already proven it, and Bob will interview him now.
All right, here with the now 7-time Olympia champion, Flex. I know those are words you've been waiting to hear all year. You announced some time ago, Flex, that this was going to be it for you. You were calling it a day on the 212 Olympia stage, and no better way to go out with your 7th title.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, this year has been one of the most memorable preps to date, and it hasn't been without its ups and downs. You know, as a champion, I'm big enough to admit that, you know, I've fallen many times and I've learned from every one of my mistakes. And this year, you know, has taught me a lot about personal growth, about, you know, just representing what this medal around my neck really means. And when I really put my head into this prep, thanks to a lot of people in this room, you know, I trained for that #1 spot, and I came here to defend, set the record, equal my all-time, you know, greatest inspiration, Arnold Schwarzenegger's record. And I've done it. I've done it. You know, I'm a kid from Wales who had a dream. And that dream was to be on this Olympia stage. And now I'm here. I sacrificed so much to be here. And again, everything in life, if you want something, you've got to go for it. I left my family in Wales to come to America, slept on a sofa, all to pursue this dream. I know this dream is a reality. And again, like I said, I've fallen many times, but I've gone back up, I've dusted myself off, and I've learned from my mistakes so I can be a better person, a better human. And now I can say that I am the American dream. The American dream is alive. I'm living it.
All right, Flex, with no better way to go out. Your buddy Jose just did it earlier. We're going to give you the same opportunity. You're going to stay right here, center circle, my friend. Oh, you got more to say. Okay. It's a 3-hour show, Flex.
My last show. I want to say thank you so much for the IFBB Pro League to giving me this opportunity to do what I do, traveling around the world, represent as a champion to each and every one of you. I want to thank each and every one of these judges who have represented and stood in front of me and judged me, again, all around the world, including the Olympias. Special thanks to the Mannion family, Steve Weinberger, and also my coach, Neil Hill, of 16 years. This guy believed in me from my very first show, and I am where I am because of that man. And again, living the American dream, I've achieved so much through bodybuilding to now have an amazing house, an amazing life, a beautiful family, all through bodybuilding. Again, guys, believe to achieve, dream big. Don't let anybody talk you out of your goals and your dreams. I was told more times that I'd never do this than I did. You have to believe and surround yourself with the people that are there for you, because my team around me have been there for years. Again, I want to leave this stage by saying one last time, one last thing. Each and every one of you fans, guys, you do not believe how much you motivate me. I know that sounds cliche, but it isn't. You've got me out of the hardest ruts, through the hardest training sessions, the messages that you give me. I've put it all into this 7th title right here. From me to you, thank you so much, guys. Seriously, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet for one of the greatest champions of all time, 7-time Olympian champion, Flex Lewis.
Well, Shawn, where they say the Olympia is about the moments, and Flex Lewis just gave us a moment we won't soon forget. It's not every day we hear a 34-year-old talk about walking away from the stage, so I guess it remains to be seen, but his message to the fans, I think, was well received, because I know I have a son in that audience tonight, and those are the types of things that you want these champions to teach and to inspire, and Flex Lewis, you have inspired a lot of people around the world tonight, and congratulations on your 7th and apparently final title.
Living the American dream. We come back to the Open finalists, Dan, and this is where the rubber's about to hit the road.
This is it, folks, the last comparison for the title of Mr. Olympia. Let's send it down to the table. Big Steve.
Thank you, Bob. Phil and Brandon, switch, please. Rolly and William, switch, please. Gentlemen, spread out and hit a front double bicep.
All right, the last time these guys will be compared, history will be made one way or the other. You cannot stop progress. Phil will either win or he will not. And either way, it will be a historic moment by the time Steve Weinberger is done with these final comparisons.
Side chest.
One side note, that is Brandon's soul brother #1, Curry, that is in that top 5 call-outs. A very unfamiliar place, but well-deserved. I've taken out several big names, including Cedrick McMillan and Dexter Jackson and Big Ramy. We now see Brandon Curry making his first ever appearance in the top 5 of a Mr. Olympia
Spread
lineup.
out, guys. Everyone take a step.
Phil directing traffic up there, making sure
Back double
there's plenty of room. That's the veteran, especially when you got $400,000 on the line and an 8th Sandow trophy you're fighting for. You want to have plenty of space, Dan, on that stage. And right now, they all are serious.
Shawn, I'm going to just ask you this one question. Has anything changed in the way you see this competition from last night to right now?
Man, this is coming down to the wire, because again, we counted the poses, and if we're going numerically on the poses, Shawn Rhoden slightly edges out. But again, Phil's signature poses are carrying him in this dogfight right here, but it's hard for me to stop looking at what Rhoden is presenting on that stage here tonight. I've only witnessed, Dan, personally, one upset on this Olympia platform, and that was back in 2008.
Abdominals and thighs.
Took out the reigning defending champion in the form of Jay Cutler. Now that case was 10 years ago. And if it happens again here tonight, the question will remain, if Phil gets beat Does he come back next year to try to make history? That's going to be the bigger question.
We know what happens. We saw Jay Cutler defeat Ronnie Coleman.
Your favorite most muscular.
Dexter Jackson defeat Jay Cutler.
We saw Lee Haney beat Samir Badu in 1984.
And we saw Phil Heath defeat Jay Cutler. We've seen this story play out, so history suggests that it can happen. That's an impressive pose by the champion, Phil Heath. Right now, I'd like to see Shawn Rhoden fighting a little bit harder at this point, but...
I think Shawn's done enough, bro. I mean, I'm looking at this in real time, and I got Shawn Rhoden right now with a very narrow, very tight upset in this contest.
Well, here it is. Apparently, if the fans in the audience have something to say about it, Rully Winkler is their Olympia champion, but Phil Heath from Arvada, Colorado is here. He's trying to win the title for the 8th time, and as you mentioned, a tremendous showing for Brandon Curry, who continues to quietly and slowly move into the top group. Shawn Rhoden and
Phil's dragging Shawn to hit his favorite pose, and Shawn is playing into that. Shawn should turn around right now and hit an abdominal and thigh shot while Phil hits his favorite pose, which is his back shot.
Shawn, is anything happening right now that will influence the outcome of this competition?
Those judges right now are just double checking to make sure that they've done their due diligence, which I can appreciate. And these guys are entertaining us while the judges are doing what they've done. This thing is being judged right now. And I gotta tell you, if you're gonna give Shawn Rhoden the title of Mr. Olympia, you better make sure that you dot the I and cross the T's. But I can tell you, he would be worthy of that recognition should they decide to go that route.
They are chasing the champ. Phil Heath moves to the left side of the stage, as does the rest of the pack. William Bonac, again, another tremendous Olympia appearance. It won't be good enough to win, but it was good enough to remain among the very best on the planet.
Phil is very smart in showing his back during all of these poses. That's his #1 pose. It's how this show's won and lost. He won this contest last year on those back shots, and he could do enough to win it here again tonight. So this show is still up for grabs as we come to the wire.
In a few moments, we will see history. Either an 8th Sandow for Phil Heath or the crowning of the 14th winner of this contest. So the feeling in the arena is palpable. There's a lot of intensity, and people know that this thing is very much up for grabs.
I can tell you on the look on Phil's face, he's struggling, Dan, and he does not look as supremely confident as he did in prior victories.
Shawn, I can't remember the last time at this very moment that we were as unclear as we are right now.
We're both witnessing history, like you said, one way or the other.
Place award representing DPI Sports is COO, Mr. Chris McKenzie. Please take the 5th place award, the 5th place check for $45,000, and present it to Brandon Curry.
All right, another strong Olympia for Brandon Curry, and he moves into the top 5, which means he is now qualified for the 2019 Mr. Olympia. He'll pick up a nice check, and also he will command the status and the respect that comes with being in this very exclusive club.
He's probably had the hardest run of them all with 4 kids running around, long times away from the family over there at Oxygen Gym. This is the best he's ever done in this show, and I'm sure we'll see more in the future.
Presenting the 4th place award representing MHP is CEO Gerard Dente.
This will be interesting, Dan. Rowley and Williams did not stand next to each other and get compared.
Looking in the eyes of the champion, gotta wonder what he's thinking right now. But first, let's hear who finishes 4th place.
And present it to William the Conqueror Bonac.
As predicted yesterday, Dan, I thought he came in a little heavy. He dropped 1 notch, which is not a slap in anybody's face, but he's a little too heavy on this stage. If he dries up a little bit more, drops a little bit of weight, and that's hard to say, I think he'll streamline this physique and be right back in the hunt again. But right now, he's remaining in the top 4, and he came off an Arnold Classic Championship. That's not an easy thing to do, and a year ago, he didn't have to deal with that.
And then there were the top 3 bodybuilders on the planet, Phil Heath, Rully Winkler, and Shawn Rhoden, await the announcement of third place.
Rolly is in a very unfamiliar
Presenting the third
position
place award, representing Almas,
at this moment.
is Kevin K. Please take the third place award, the Olympia bronze medal, the check for $100,000 to your third place finisher, Rolly Winkler.
All right, Shawn Ray, your people's champion is the #3 bodybuilder in the world. A terrific Olympia showing for Rolly as he continues to fine-tune that massive physique, those freaky proportions, and he has turned it in to what is now one of the top physiques on the planet. Rolly Winkler is your third place finisher.
With $100,000 to show for it, man, that was earned the hard way. Rolly Winkler, very deserving, very popular, and his status and his stock in this industry has just gone up twofold. And then, Dan, there were two.
If I could please have Shawn Rhoden and Phil Heath on the center line, please.
We've seen this play out before as Phil Heath held off a fast-charging Shawn Rhoden several years back. And now we're going to see the rubber match.
And what's at stake? The runner-up will win $150,000. The winner will win $400,000. And in Olympia tradition, Bob Ciccarello will probably announce the winner.
You here
That's right.
will be your 2018 Mr. Olympia. Presenting the first place award, representing Midway Less, is Mr. Wilton Kali and Catherine Kali, and our IFBB Pro League President, Mr. Jim Mannion. I will now announce the winner of the 2018 Olympia. Please take the Sandow Trophy, the Olympia gold medal, the check for $400,000, and the title of 2018 Mr. Olympia. To our winner and new Olympia champion.
There it is.
It has happened in Las Vegas. For just the 14th time, we have a new Mr. Olympia. The defending champion has been knocked out. Shawn Rhoden is your 2018 Olympia champion. Phil Heath's run, at least for now, will end at 7 in one of the more improbable developments. Phil Heath stands at center stage, congratulating the winner, Shawn Rhoden. And I gotta tell you, Shawn Ray, coming into this weekend, there weren't many people that would have ever dared to predict this outcome.
Absolutely, and I wasn't one of those guys that thought that for 2 seconds. However, I talked to a fellow professional bodybuilding friend of mine from Italy, Gianrico Pica, who saw Shawn Rhoden on Wednesday night the day I arrived. He has a show coming up, the Amateur Olympia in Italy next weekend. He said he saw Shawn Rhoden, and Shawn Rhoden was gonna win this show. And I looked him in the eye, and I could not believe what he was saying. Shawn Rhoden has accomplished what no other man has in over 10 years.
Our coverage is going to continue after the break. Stick around, guys. right, we are back. An historic night here in Las Vegas. Shawn Rhoden has just been crowned Mr. Olympia in one of the more improbable developments in the history of this contest. Very few people saw this coming. There was an expectation that some guys would push Phil to the limit. Shawn Rhoden was not on many of those lists, especially after what played out last year where he finished 5th. And here he is, the final man standing, and Phil Heath's run ends at 7, where he will remain tied with the great Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Bob Chick just asked, did the judges get it right? And to a resounding applause, they said yes. I believe Shawn's waiting for his kid to come on stage to share the moment. Shawn Rhoden a year ago had a kid, and a couple years ago, I should say, which takes your eye off the prize, and there she is. That dress has got all kinds of stuff on it now, but it's got that gold medal, and she'll remember this moment years to come.
And a reminder, do not put your kids in white when you have protein on. I know, sweetie, I feel the same way. Shawn Rhoden, you're the new Mr. Olympia. Wow, what a great fight, Shawn. Everybody can see yesterday that you brought it. You brought your A game, and you came here to... What's the matter, sweetie? You want to say something? It's Daddy. Said hi, Daddy.
Hi, Nana.
Guess what? Daddy's Mr. Olympia.
Hi, Nana.
She said congratulations. Here's something you can play with. Look at it. Wow, look at that. Isn't that cool? All right, let's talk with the champ. Shawn, congratulations, my friend. You have done the unthinkable. You have beaten the great and 7-time Olympia champion, Phil Heath. You believed in yourself. You told everybody you were not messing around. You came here to win, and you are the new Mr. Olympia.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for coming out and showing support to all these amazing athletes. Jim Mannion, AMI, Steve White-Merger, all these wonderful judges. Thank you guys so much. To my family for making it out here. Man, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey, and I'm thankful for today. And yes, today that I was able to fight my way. It's something that I believe that I was going to be number 14.
And you are number 14. Only 14 men in history since 1965 have held this title. Some of those great names that you know, of course. And you just beat a hell of a champion in Phil Heath, a 7-time champion. Nobody thought he could be beaten, but you did it.
Yeah, I've been watching Phil since 2012, taking a lot of notes, and I know people might laugh at me when I say that, hey, one day I was going to be Mr. Olympia, but here I am, folks. This was probably my hardest prep ever, but I wanted it so bad. I'm thankful that I'm here.
Well, Shawn, look at that Sandow trophy down there. That's going to look really nice up on that mantle, isn't it?
I haven't even think that far, you know. This past couple of days has just been a roller coaster. You know, I have a great supporting cast, Chris Aceto, Psycho Fitness. My training partner make it to the Olympia for the first time, Stamina. And I'm gonna tell you, man, they beat the crap out of me these past couple of months just to get here. And to all you fans out here for your support. You know, every time I look and I hear someone said, Shawn is too small, Shawn is spending too much time with his family, Shawn looked like he's retired. But it's okay. We had a game plan and we stuck to it. And we found our way to come here. I did everything that I possibly could have can to look good this weekend.
Well, Shawn, you certainly did more than look good. You look great, and the judge is certainly rewarding that with an Olympia victory. Take me through yesterday. After prejudging, what were your feelings after you stepped off this stage?
To be honest, man, I walked out of here yesterday, and I looked at Chris and I said, it's only Friday. You know, I know a lot of people had me, you know, winning or a close second, but I just looked at Chris and said, it's only Friday, Chris. We still have Saturday, let's just focus on today. And that's what we did, one day at a time.
What did you think when you came here tonight for the final, Shawn? Did you think you had it? Did you think Phil was going to eat you? We all know Phil comes back better on Saturday, so you knew you had a battle coming up tonight. But what were your feelings? Did you think you had it?
Listen, guys, Phil is no slouch. I've been chasing him since 2012, so I know in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, you know what, he's missed a Saturday night. He could come in here and he could look his all-time best. But again, I looked at Chris's Cedar and Chris said, hey, you know what, Shawn? You'll be better than you were yesterday. And if that man believed in me, I'm good.
All right, Shawn Rhoden. Right here in the center, I want you to hit your first pose as your new 2018 Mr. Olympia. I'll have you know that was not easy to get back, Shawn.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. 14. I don't even want to use the word lucky. This was earned, Dan, the hard way.
And please help me in celebrating your new Olympia champion, MusclePharm, Shawn Rhoden.
Shawn Rhoden, as we've known through the years, is a man of few words. He lets his physique do all the talking. He did just that tonight, and it took 54 years. But we have ourselves a 14th champion.
By way of Jamaica, this is the guy that took 7 years off of bodybuilding to take care for his ailing father who passed away, came back, turned pro by winning the North America Championships, and slowly started to serve notice by winning the Arnold Classic over in Spain. Just came out, got second runner-up here, and now he became the Buster Douglas of modern-day bodybuilding by knocking out the reigning defending champion. And here's our top 5 leaderboard from the Mr. Olympia.
Shawn Rhoden wins it. He defeats the defending champion Phil Heath and Willie Winkler. Of course, what we are learning now, William Bonac in 4th and Brandon Curry rounds out the top 5, and we're waiting for those other scores to come in so we can round out the top 10. We might have to wait till a bit later in the program to get that. But first things first, Shawn Rhoden has defeated Phil Heath in a stunning turn of events. Not so stunning if you consider the pace of the show, but stunning when you consider what we walked into as we arrived here in Vegas. There were very few people that ever considered the possibility that Shawn Rhoden, after last year's 5th place finish, was going to come in well above 40 years old and win this competition. But a tremendous event, and we're going to take a quick break.
.com, along with MusclePharm, Dan Solomon backstage.
Special night this is. I know you had a plan going back to.
We're going to throw things backstage. Dan Solomon trying to get an audience with our reigning champion for 2018, Shawn. Oh, Flex Lewis, our 212.
This gentleman to my right has just been one part of all the history that has been made tonight here at the 2018 Olympia. And Flex Lewis, congratulations. You are the 212 champion once again for the 7th time.
Wow, it's very surreal again. There was an execution plan made 20 weeks out, and of course, my body was telling me at 226, jump on stage. And we just had to rechange the plan, and getting here today hasn't come without its own sacrifice, and from everybody, from the family, all to see me fulfill my dream. My coach Neil Hill doing what he does is absolutely phenomenal, and again, I'm lost for words. I think I left everything up on stage and what I said tonight.
Well, it's unusual at 34 years old that we hear somebody step to center stage and talk about the fact that they are walking away. And you'll have to forgive my skepticism a little bit, because when we look at your physique, when we look at your energy and where you're at in your life, that you have still a lot more to do as a bodybuilder. So I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that, and I'm going to question this decision. Are you sure now is the time to step away? And give us some clarity on this plan. Are you stepping away from this division? Are you stepping away from the sport? Is there a bigger picture plan that you want to fill us in on?
Well, as you know me, Dan, I always have a plan on things, and I'm all about breaking down barriers and opening new doors. What I've achieved in this sport, you know, as a kid, if I thought about it, it blows my mind, you know, but I dream big. And as a 212 athlete, you'll never hear that name being called out again on stage. But for the future, I think there's going to be definitely a time and a place where I definitely jump back on stage as an open class guy. But it's got to be done right. It's got to be done in the pace that allows me to grow, mature in the right areas without rushing. And that being said, you know, I've got a lot of irons in the fire, and I'm ready to open a lot of doors that bodybuilders haven't had the chance to yet. And I've already done that this year. So I'm excited to explore new avenues. Like I said, open doors for the whole fitness industry into what I'm doing, and there's a lot of things that I need to fulfill from the personal standpoint before I even think about opening the door to standing on the open stage.
Well, I'll tell you this, I'll let you put a bookmark in your career, at least for now. We're not going to let you off the hook that easily. But I had a son who was in the audience tonight, and when I heard you talk about never giving up on your dreams and inspiring fans really around the world the way you do, that's such a big part of your story. It's such a big part of your message, and you've done such a great job of serving as a tremendous ambassador to the sport. So, Flex, I applaud you for that, and what you are is so much more than a physique. You are somebody that has brought an important message and important energy to a sport that oftentimes needs that positivity.
Yeah, and again, bodybuilders have been given this cliche, right? And when I got into this sport long before I became the champion, I wanted to break that stereotype. And that is still a personal goal of mine. I've broken these barriers, and again, with where I am in life right now, it's about having the mainstream look at a champion with a different mindset and a different eye, and again, representing the sport on stage and off. So the next generation, all these new young blood coming through, I put the bar up high. And again, representing on stage and off is what this medal means, and has them for me long before the medal was around my neck. And aspiring people, the young kids like yourself, and I do live by that motto, dream big, and everybody out there should. Dream big, never give up on your goals, and again, just have that belief that whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve.
And for Flex Lewis, his dreams came true 7 times. Your 2018 under 212 champion. Congratulations, Flex. Well done. We're going to go ahead and bring in somebody else who has just made a bit of history. You know, we give these interviews every year where we get to stand here and talk to the winner of the Mr. Olympia. It's one of the great privileges, one of the great things that I get to do each and every year is talk to the #1 bodybuilder in the world in the moments after an Olympia is settled. And I'm not going to lie to you, Shawn, never in a million years did I imagine that I'd be standing here talking to you as the greatest champion. Having said that, when you walked out tonight and what you presented last night and again tonight, it was extraordinary. The fans around the world agreed with the decision. You delivered something remarkable. You bounced back from a year ago where you were off and you talked about some of those trials and tribulations going into last year's competition. And in one of the more improbable turn of events, you have won a Sandow Trophy. You are the 14th man to do so. So for that, we congratulate you on an extraordinary achievement.
Thank you. It's, wow, haven't sunken in this yet, but it's been a long, long year from last Olympia. Broken jaw, mouth wired shut, had to eat through a straw, had to blend all my food. Still able to fight my way to the top 5 last year, and I started my prep this year for the Arnold Classic, ended up with 2 bleeding ulcer, and 8 blood transfusion, had to pull out the last couple of weeks. And I wanted to make a statement for this year's Olympia, and when I told people it's going to win the Olympia this year, a lot of people kind of laughed at me because I looked like I was about to be retired. But I have a great coach, Chris Aceto, great training, Psycho Fitness 21, and a training partner that will never let me quit. Plus my family was always like, hey, you know what? Just focus.
Let's get down to brass tacks here. You beat a really good champion tonight. Phil Heath has done remarkably over the last 7 years, winning this title, and he came in very confident this weekend. He thought he had this thing coming into the competition. You were very confident, as we saw from the very early phases of the weekend. You came out here, took care of business. Talk about not what it feels like to be Mr. Olympia. Talk about what it feels like to defeat the great Phil Heath.
I've been on stage with Phil since 2011. It's a great feeling, man, because, again, Phil is no slouch. You have Dexter Jackson, former Mr. Olympia also, that were on stage. And I know these guys are 2 champion, and they worked their butt off, and everybody was going to come in here firing in all cylinders. So Rolly Winkler and William Bonac moved up the chain this year. One thing that my coach told me is that, Shawn, just stay in your own lane. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Just focus on what you need to do. The only thing that we need to do here for this year Olympia is to bring the best Shawn Rhoden ever. Because if you bring the best Shawn Rhoden ever, it's going to be very hard for anyone to beat you. And I believe.
You're also one of the oldest men to win this competition for the first time. I think Chris Dickerson may have been a year older. How old are you? You put out the number?
I'm 43.
43. I think Chris Dickerson was also 43 when he won the competition. So hopefully some of our historians out there will determine if you are the oldest to actually win the contest for the first time. How many more years?
I'll be back. I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, I do want to just put some perspective for you, if I could, before I let you run. The Olympia Winners Club is the most prestigious club in this sport. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sergio Oliva, Dorian Yates, the Ronnie Colemans, Jake Cutlers. You are Phil Heath. You are in that club. No matter what happens for you going forward, no matter what happens to you for the rest of your life, you are forever a Mr. Olympia champion. Pick up that Sandow trophy and show the world what you have just done. Remarkably, extraordinarily, impressively, and well-deserved. Shawn Rhoden, your 2018 Mr. Olympia champion. Any final thoughts before you get out of here and go eat?
Just want to thank my family for putting up with me the last couple of weeks. I miss my family, training in LA. My coach, Chris Aceto, and Psycho Fitness. Thank you guys so much for continuing to believe in me when everybody else stopped.
And then there were 14. Shawn Rhoden, congratulations, our newly crowned Olympia champion. I think that's going to wrap things up here from Las Vegas at the Orleans Arena. Our coverage of Joe Weider's Olympia weekend has now come to an incredible close with the crowning of a new champion. They often say in this sport of bodybuilding, the most memorable nights are the nights where a champion is crowned for the very first time. And Shawn Rhoden, thanks to you, you have given us that moment. For all of us here, we appreciate the hard work of Robin Chang and everybody over at the Olympia production team, our director, Lou Zwick, my co-hosts, Amanda Latona and Hall of Famer Sean Ray. For our newly crowned champion, Shawn Rhoden, I'm Dan Solomon. Good night. Yo, yo,